I am back live again, and this time I have a very special guest who goes by the name. What name are you going by lately?
Yoel.
Yoel? I never know with you. Yoel. Yoel and I have been friends, I would say, for about 5 years, correct?
Mhm.
And you always caught my attention because you're such a truth speaker and living your life so boldly and like unafraid. And I was always drawn to your energy because of that, because of this fearlessness that I see in you. Who's calling you? You okay?
I'm reading my phone. Yeah.
Okay, fine. So I was always drawn to you, and we tried to connect a few times and go live together, but it wasn't successful until today. And I think Hashem is leading the way with this. I think it's a sign. I take it as a sign that
Yeah.
we're supposed to be having this conversation. And my latest obsession in the truth world is finding out the truth of the story of the life of Yeshu and unraveling him from the entanglements that were imposed on him in his life story from the Christian side and from the Jewish side. And I feel like this klipa, this Psy-Op, I interchange those two words now, klipa and Psy-Op, because I understand the similarities of hiding something within something to protect it and to help the masses come to it on their own, unravel things on their own. And this is the process of what you and I are going to do today. So I know there's a knowing that my soul has that once we get to the heart of the Jesus Psy-Op, once we free him from the lies that have been imposed on him and get him out of hell, get him out of the hell that I think his soul volunteered to take on as a mission, as a very sophisticated psychological mission to preserve Torah, to preserve Zohar specifically. And when all of us together realized that the Zohar was the thing that needed protection from the dark forces and needed vehicles to be transported to this point in time for us to hold it in our hands and learn it and understand it. Once we work backwards from that understanding, we can get to the truth of what the mission of Yeshu was and how it was distorted on both sides, where he was made a god by the Romans and he was made a villain by, I think, the Erev Rav Jews. And once both of those personifications come off of him, the truth about his life can emerge that he was truly a Kabbalist. He was really a very holy Kabbalah rabbi. And we can invite him back into the Jewish nation, and with him come all the souls of the Christian people that are attached to him. That's my intro.
I love it.
And Yoel, you specifically are the perfect person to have this conversation with, and I'm going to tell you why you're perfect. Because you are a truther, and you are a Talmid Chacham, and you know how to dissect a text like I haven't seen anybody do in a long time. And I was thinking, who can I learn this with? Because I couldn't learn it myself. I couldn't understand the Hebrew text myself. And I was like, should I try Rabbi Kessin? I think I'm going to give the poor guy a heart attack if I do. So I'm like, because, you have to understand what a Psy-Op is. And you have to understand about Trump and about Q and about the great awakening process that humanity is in right now. And you get it. You understand it. And you actually were there. I was telling you last night, y'all, that you were the first person to tell me that the Zionists are evil. And I was like, what? And I heard it from you because you say it with such humility and such fire. There's no ego with you. And there's just this burning fire of truth in your soul that I was able to perceive. And you helped me swallow that red pill about 3 years ago. And today, with joining forces with you, I'd like to introduce this next red pill, which is probably the biggest red pill that Jews and Christians will have to swallow, is the unraveling of the Psy-Op of Jesus from both perspectives, and I think they're Ramdu. They're Reb Moshe David Vali, who is considered the Mashiach ben David of his generation. He was the student of the Ramchal, who is also the Mashiach ben David of his generation. They they gave us cue drops. They gave us things to decode for this time. They sent us packages into the future. They transported little packages of hints for us to unravel, decode, and get to the truth. So, without further ado, I would like to make use of your brilliant brain and mind and heart. And I would like to hear a little intro from you, a little bit of like feedback on what your thoughts of everything I just said.
Thank you. So I think Zohar was preserved by the Jewish people without having have been in danger at any point. I think we always had people in caves, like literal caves, hiding in the desert, studying the Zohar. Always. I don't think we missed a generation, you know? So this preservation of the Zohar through the through like the Christian teachings, I'm wondering why that was done. You know, like why can we open up a New Testament and see that it has the same teachings as the Zohar, you know?
Are you
Why was
asking
that
me?
done?
Are you asking
Yeah,
me?
I mean, I'm bringing it up and kind of wondering like how it benefits us, the Jewish people. I can see it.
Okay.
Maybe we can talk about how it can benefit Christians, but I don't get why it was done for us. Maybe it
I
wasn't.
don't. I think that this is what I learned from Billy Phillips. I took a course of his called Unredacting Jesus, and it was amazing. And it opened my mind to these concepts that Jesus was, his mission was for the Gentiles, was to save them from paganism and introduce concepts of God, to bring the Jews into an exile where it is a God centric exile and is a way of God to soften the exile for us to be among Gentiles who believe in God, who hold the Old Testament sacred. So I think that was the concurrent mission of Yeshu alongside Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. I learned from Billy Phillips, and he learned from Rev Berg, who learned from Rev Brandwine, that Yeshu and Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai were contemporaries. So I think they were concurrent missions where Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai was preserving Zohar for the Jews and thereby saving the Jews with the Zohar in the cave. And then there was Yeshu saving the Gentile nations from paganism, and while doing that, creating a soft landing for the Jewish people in exile. Does that make sense?
It does. I like it brilliantly. Yeshu, by the way, and Rajbi, I mean, like Shimon Bar Yochai and Yeshu, you know, they both have that yud in the shin. Then one has a vav and one has a base, which are similar letters.
Bo. Bo. Right, they have the same sound. Let me just think if there was anything else I wanted to say about you. I just love the journey you've been on, Yoel. I have to tell you, you have invited us into every nook and cranny of your life, and I have enjoyed it immensely. I've seen your growth, and I've seen your potential explode, and the Talmud Chacham that you are emerging to be right now, and it gives my heart a lot of nachas because I saw it from the beginning.
Thank you, Gila.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, what did I say? Okay. Oh, so I just wanted to ask you, let's discuss one more thing before we go inside the text.
Yeah.
Hold on. Oh, I want to go. Okay, I want to go through the premise that the Erev Rav, which translates in modern times to the globalist enemy that Trump is eradicating, right? The Erev Rav, who infiltrates every aspect of society with subtlety, like with mind control and subliminal messaging and campaigns, and we know the tactics now. It's been revealed to us. Kabbalah, in Bereshis, delineates who the Erev Rav are, how they operate, what mechanisms they use. Therefore, that book became their biggest threat because when they are exposed to humanity and humanity can see and discern who this invisible enemy are, the jig for them is up at that point. Once we see them, once they emerge from the shadows and can no longer hide and control us, it's over for them because humanity is out of the game at that point. We no longer subject ourselves to the game. You don't get played anymore by them. So I think during the time of Rashbi, during the time of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, they were slaughtering the Kabbalists, the Asara Harugi Malchus, the 10 martyrs. They were slaughtered in such horrific ways to deter the spread of Kabbalah in the most traumatic way possible. And that was what caused Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai to hide in the cave from the edict of the Romans. So once we understand that Kabbalah is their number one threat, we understand it had to be hidden in layers of decode, in like, you know, what we were saying yesterday, in like Hamavin Yavin, like they had to speak in coded language to hide from the Sitra Achra, the forces of evil that hijack human beings.
Right.
So I think the aspect that there were two avenues of hiding this threat of the Erev. There was the avenue of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai through the text of the Zohar, thankfully, that was hidden from the 1300s into, no, when was Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai? From the 200s until Moses de Leon, which was when? The 1400s. So there was a gap of 1,000 years till the Zohar was recovered. That's how much of a threat it is to these people, right? This is what I learned from Billy Phillips' course also, that this is mind-blowing, Yoel. This is mind-blowing, that the Knights Templar was sent by Rashi to Jerusalem to find the Holy Grail. And what is the Holy Grail? They went digging for the Zohar and they found it and they brought it back to Italy for the Kabbalists in Italy. Isn't that crazy?
That's wild.
I know, you got to take this course. So there's so many parts of this plot that are surfacing now that I learned from this course, that the rabbis, the Italian rabbis, sent the Knights Templar, they were in cahoots with them to bring back the Zohar, that it was time, that 1290 was the year. I forget, there's a gematria for that. 1290 was the year that Zohar was supposed to come back openly. The onset of Yemos HaMashiach. Okay, so I feel, back to my point, I feel like there was two avenues that the Zohar was safeguarded. The avenue of the Kabbalists, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, and all the Kabbalists after him, and also they safeguarded it inside this vehicle called the New Testament. Because the other side, the Sitra Achra, the demonic side, created the control structure of Christianity, the religion, and how much smarter to hide the Zohar inside the creation of the enemy.
Right.
So I think there was like, it was safeguarded in two directions, two vehicles to transport it to the future, so we guarantee it gets there. Does that make sense to you?
Actually, it does. It makes a lot of sense.
Thank you. Okay, and then one more thing I wrote down. Okay, so my intuition, since understanding we've been lied to about everything, is that Jesus was actually a good guy. Has that thought come to you? Like, when do you agree with that? And when did that first hit you?
Well, I still struggle how to understand many statements by the sages, like, and even Ramdu, we're gonna see, like, in his wording, it would be very, very easy to think, oh, this is just another really wicked Jew. But once more information is coming to the surface, it's getting harder and harder to just read the surface lines and not understand that there's another plot under the current. It's very hard for me to see what that is, but with discussions with you, with discussions with other people, it's starting to form a picture that you can't deny there's something there's an undercurrent here.
100%. And there's a conversation within a conversation, and a wink and a nod from the Ramdu. It's like you have to look past the euphemisms,
right,
to try to understand. Okay, so you have the pages with you?
I wonder, can I pull up the video? Like, am I still? Can you still hear me?
I can still hear you, yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna see if I can pull up a split screen. If not, at least I'll have the audio and I'll follow with you.
Okay.
All right, we're on page 90, right, Sadiq?
Yeah. And this book, I'll show everybody also. This is the Sefer Halikutim LeRabbi Moshe David Vali, Mi Beis Medrasho Shel HaRamchal. It's Sefer Halikutim, Volume 1.
Oh. Got it.
How old are you now?
25, almost 26.
When's your birthday?
August and Av.
Nice.
Ready?
I'm ready.
Me too. Am I reading it?
Are we trying to get the text on the screen or nah?
Can I do that? How do I do that?
Hold on, let me see if I can do it. You know what? I'll post the text under our video later. Let's just read.
Okay.
Let's start in the middle with ta'am.
Thanks. Which atam okay, in the middle. Oh, in that paragraph. Okay, good. With you.
You know what? You read, and I'll interject if I have something I want to really add. If I can't hold back.
Sure. So the title of the paragraph is the reasoning how it's possible that the majority of the world can falter or make mistakes when it comes to false gods. So it's already known that the foreign gods mentioned all over the Bible, they're the klipa, the husk, the shell, the outer layer of the holy gods. And this is a secret of what is written in the Bible, you shouldn't make for yourself a pesel, which is some kind of graven image, and it comes from a lashon, shumi lashon psoiles. It comes from the leftovers. And we also spoke out, Gila, that it sounds like pasul, it sounds like invalid. Ukasha priya mitukan kol tzarkai, belai klipa kasha. And when the fruit will be ready and ripened, all of its needs, like all the way, without a hard klipa, husk or shell or peel, as v'halilim kilil yachalav. Then it will be fulfilled, this verse of that the foreign gods, kilil, I saw is like a lashon of kol, like everything or all of it. Yachalav, I think I saw that it means it's gonna be like or removed or transferred out, but they're gonna be removed, these foreign gods, all of them.
Swapped out.
Swapped out. Exactly. But in order to answer to the nations of the world that say, is it possible that the majority of the world can be wrong? It's enough to answer them. It's enough for them an eternal answer or victorious answer. And this is it. That just like there is falsehoods in every matter of the world, so too it's necessary that there's going to be falsehood also in the matters of godliness. And not only this, the rather falsehood is the majority literally in every matter, and the truth is going to be the minority. So too it is in regards matters of godliness. The majority of the world falters with false gods, and the minority holds on to or grasps or makes themselves strong through, I think they hold on to in the true worship. And this is the secret that's alluded to in the pasuk verse, Loi merubchem mikol ha'amim, etc. Not because of your great numbers or greatness from all the nations, because you are the minority. This is one of those code words, and it's enough for the understanding. So I want to present, before anything, I just want to say, what's the code words going on here? It's the dual levels. It's that he's telling us, yeah, I'm going to present you some wild ideas that maybe Rabbi Kessin is not ready to put out on YouTube. But no, that this is the the majority is not the right. The majority is not the right. I'm not saying Rabbi Kessin is wrong. I don't think he believes the things he says, because I think he's a rabbi. He can't say everything he knows to be true. But when it comes to making coming to truth, we can't rely on the majority. We can't say, oh, Rabbi Kessin, Rav Gamliel, Rabbi is this, that, Rabbi. Obviously, we're the minority. We can't be right. You know.
I like that interpretation. I understand another thing from that the Christian majority who holds Jesus as God, how can they all be wrong? All 7 billion, however many billion Christians there, and the little minority of 1% Jews be right that there's only one true God, not a trinity, a unity. And that's how I also understand that. But I like your explanation also, that it's going to take the little guy who can speak the truth.
Yeah.
Man, I like it.
We talked about the fruit being ready, the peel, right? Softening.
Well, can you repeat for everybody what you told me about that yesterday?
Well, when the fruit is not ripe, we want to let it ripen, and it wouldn't be beneficial or healthy for the whole system of nature to eat that fruit. If the bear eats the fruit too early and then he poops it out, I don't know if the seed's going to grow. Like, the whole system is messed up if we eat the fruit too early. But if we wait too long, it's going to get infested with worms and it's going to rot. Right now, I think we're at the perfect time where we see, not that we're taking the fruit and putting it in the sun to make it ripen quicker. No, we already see the fruit is ripe. We already see it's going to get moldy soon, and we better eat it quick. We talked about sunlight. Sunlight is what ripens the fruit. We talked about sunlight being the greatest disinfectant, and it's tying into like a similar concept of sun, the wisdom, the chachma, the Father shining forth a certain truth that's going to reveal within the text, maybe, an inner core that removes the husk, that just gets straight to the point.
Brilliant. So good. Was there anything else you wanted to say before we go on? Isn't this so fun?
Yes.
Okay, go on. Next paragraph.
Okay, so this is titled in regards to the Christian, which is the foundation of Sa'avusa. We'll have to translate that. I did not look it up yet.
Unclean. We found it yesterday.
Okay,
Unclean,
good.
unholy. And when it says Hanotri, who is it referring to?
I would say the obvious answer would be Jesus, but it could be referring to one of his pupils in a coded way.
Okay.
Right? Notary is Christian usually.
Right.
Okay. והנה הוא מפרש אחר כך, איך הקדוש ברוך הוא מקלקל את בניין הקליפה על ידי שלושה אלה שיעשה להם. And behold, he explains after this, how Kadosh Baruch Hu, the Holy One, blessed be He, destroys or brings ruin to the building of the husk through these three things, Vehem, and they are these three things that He makes for them, and they are Piwud, Pisul, Vikitzitz. There's three mechanisms that Hashem will use to bring down the impure building of the klipa. Trying to translate loosely, pirud is some kind of separation. Pisul, we said, sounds like invalidation, pasul, and it comes from like pasel, like a graven image. The kitzitz is like uprooting. So in regards to the pisul, beside hapisul, amar besamach, it says.
Wait, can you pause there and explain that one sentence, how you understand it?
Sure. Hashem is going to use three different mechanisms, and we're naming them, and then we're going to maybe go through them, but these are three mechanisms that we're going to use to what? To take down the other side, the unholy forces.
Okay.
So
that Hashem himself created these mechanisms that are employed by the deep state enemy, these deep state tactics of confusion, deceit, all the things that they use, Hashem really created to take them out with their own tactics. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, exactly. I don't know who created the playbook, but they're using the same playbook.
It's the same playbook. It is. It's a Psy-Op within a Psy-Op. It's so hard to hold both realities at once. Okay, yeah. Continue.
So beside hapisul, with the secret of the pisul, the invalidation or the graven image, Amar besamach, it says close by, so probably close to the last place we quoted from in the Bible, Vayeshev mamzer ba'ashdod, and he returned the mamzer, the one who was born from how do you say mamzer in English? He's like a bastard, yeah. I think. Be'ashdod. He returned, or he caused to return the bastard in Ashdod. It's a city in Israel. It's not too far from Gaza. Okay. Shaharei. I mean, this verse pops out to me, but maybe we'll read more and then we'll. Shaharei Akroin v'Ashdod hemsoid duchor v'nukva dimsavusa. Behold, Akron, which I'm guessing is also a place. I don't know. And Ashdod. They're the secret of the masculine and feminine of the, we said unholiness?
Yeah.
Unclean. Okay. It comes out, Venimta comes out, Ashdod hu kisei la'akrain, be'esh litasa shel klipa. That Ashdod is a throne for Akron at the time of the ruling of the husk. But when the Holy One, blessed be He, comes to destroy and ruin their altar, I think, and their rulership, is the matzeva altar?
Yeah, their edifice.
Edifice, okay. So, what does He do? Then hu machnis mamzer b'mkam akron. He does we're calling it pisul. In English, we probably have another name for it, but it's like a CIA type of move. We're inserting one of our guys into their place.
Yes, machnis. That word machnis. It's insertion. It is a CIA operative.
Yeah, and they're putting in the mamzer who. Right, we're putting him in the place of Akron, and Akron, we said, is like kind of the masculine to the feminine of Ashdod. Akron is where Ashdod I mean, Ashdod is the kise for Akron, and
Right.
now, so that means I think that Akron is like the masculine, dirty energy where they get their support from. But now Hashem pulled off like a major move where they don't have Akron anymore. Now they have something called Mamzer. They have this person.
Mm.
This Mamzer, this bastard who mamish hanitzri hamamzer. He's literally the Christian bastard. Shit. Nokba liyos b'makom hayasadim sa'avusa, who was established to be in the place of foundation of the unholiness of the filth. Kidei lifsal es harkavasa lahafridis yihuda. In order, why? I think this is like very hard to pinpoint exactly his intention, but in order for to make a psul, not on Jesus, not on where on the Merkava, and and in order to make a separation of her unification. Who? I think we're talking about the other side, the dirtiness, the unholiness.
Yeah. That's how, should I say how I understand it?
Yes.
So this Mamzer, this CIA operative sent in by God to sit on the throne, to sit at the seat of unholiness, this is actually Jesus, that he was established to be in this foundational place of unholiness in order to puzzle, to make invalid its width and its breadth. The Harkavta and Yehuda, the uniqueness of it. From the inside, he will invalidate. How do you invalidate something completely and demolish it? From the inside. So if he's sitting on the throne of Rome and all the lies center around him, and he's revealed as a Jewish Kabbalist instead of the Son of God to be worshipped, it invalidates the whole religion, the width and the breadth of it.
Nice. So like this is more like long term. It's not an immediately seen effect, at least not from the outside.
No, this was the long game. He had to sit on that unholy throne. That was his mission as a Jewish boy. He had to sit there and have a whole false religion created around him to mind control the masses through Rome, through the Vatican. That's why Mashiach is waiting at the gates of Rome, waiting for Jesus to be taken off of that unholy throne. No?
Yeah. Or I mean, maybe maybe once his mission is complete, he can kind of stay there because we took over, we infiltrated, and we took them over.
Yeah. Well, they say, isn't there? Have you heard this thing that when like the walls of Rome come down, then that's like go time for Mashiach? I think it's a Gemara. Like when the walls of, I think it's in Sanhedrin. Let's
I'll
look
note
at
that.
and I think when like Vatican City falls, when the lies are revealed. What are you looking up?
I'm just writing this down for later when the walls of Rome fall, that will bring Mashiach.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's a brilliant strategy Hashem was using. Hashem used all the mechanisms of the other side to undo the other side, to reveal the other side. And it's truly what's happening. It's a parallel to what's happening with Trump right now. You said this to me yesterday, that thank God we have a Psy-Op happening right now in the world, so we understand what a Psy-Op is.
Right.
Can you explain more on that? Can you tell me more deeply what you meant by that?
Sure. So when we're gonna read a text about Jesus, anyone who comes from a Orthodox Jewish, or not even Orthodox, just Jewish traditional upbringing, it's very distasteful, and we have like this natural like repulsiveness that we're taught to feel entirely with all of our being every time we come across this name, right?
Yes.
So once that, like, it seems normal because we never really taught to think about it, but once we start to examine what's going on with Trump, once someone is familiar with what the Q is, it doesn't really matter what they believe. At that point, it starts to open up the mind to re-question all the things that they've been taught. So if we're reading like extreme exaggerations, whether it's about Jesus or it's about a story of a giant bird, we can now understand, okay, wait, there's a new way of communicating here. Maybe it's not at face value. Maybe there's a dual meaning. Maybe there's more than dual meanings, but maybe there's multi-layered meanings that have been conveyed. And why is the Psy-Op important? It's because someone will ask you, why would they do that? Why wouldn't they just tell us Jesus is Mashiach? Or wouldn't they just tell us, like why would the rabbis lie to us, right? Why are they trying to trick us? Well, now we can kind of understand it, because if you look at the QAnon movement, you can't just say, well, why don't they just I mean, people do ask, but like, why won't they just be all open about it? Why can't we just go out and arrest Hillary Clinton in 2016? Like, so there's someone who is following along on this global plan will tell you, well, everything has to follow the previous, everything's a result of the previous and leading on to something else, and it's all a process and it's all a stage. And yes, we can't just tell you the plan from the beginning. It has to be worded in a way where you're only going to understand later. You have to have confirmation. That's very important. So you're only going to be able to understand at the end of the game. At the beginning of the game, we can predict our moves to those who are in the know, but only as much as they know they're going to pick up on. We can't put it out explicitly.
And why?
Why? Because it has to be, when you're playing chess, you don't want the other guy to know what you're going to do.
Best answer. 5D chess. Yeah. Excellent. Really excellent analysis. Really good. Also, I have understood, you made me realize with your explanation that what did it for me, what opened the floodgates for Jesus, it might have been lies about Jesus too, is when I understood the smear campaign against Trump and the Trump derangement syndrome that the Erev Rav created, and that they target this smear campaign to their number one threat. They smear the Erev Rav always tells you who they're terrified of, because it's who they're generating massive campaigns to smear. They smear who they fear. So if Jesus has this massive campaign, this Jesus derangement syndrome similar to Trump, tells me the Erev Rav is terrified of Jesus. Tells me we've been lied to about everything. Makes me want to seek an answer as to why Jesus was such a threat to the globalist powers that were. And when you see the patterns, Yoel, when you know this is what the Hamaskil is seeing patterns, sharing patterns. When we discuss amongst ourselves the patterns of the Erev Rav, we're bringing Geula, because we can unmask this enemy. Uh-oh.
Yes, no, I'm here. I just want to I want to say, Gila, this is exactly why maybe the rabbis use such strong language about Jesus, because for the Am Haaretz, the layman, yeah, we want to keep him away from Jesus, and we don't want him to study too much because he shouldn't be approaching the Kabbalistic concepts. But those who know, how do we get them to focus on Jesus? How do you get them to focus on Jesus? By telling them extremely exaggerated statements about a guy who obviously isn't that guilty of all the things we're saying.
Oh my God, you're such a genius. Oh my God, I'm gonna have to listen to that again. How do you get the attention of the maskilim, of the Hamevin Yavin? By creating an exaggerated story and getting their attention with it.
Right, and it's like something that only a Talmud Chacham really knows the history of Jesus. Only a Talmud Chacham really knows what went down, and he knows what the Gemara says, what his Averis were. Like, it's not so clear to me. I didn't study all those Gemaras, not in depth for sure not. But as someone who grew up in the system, I still don't know what Jesus did wrong.
Exactly.
That we call him Yamach Shemai B'Zichrai. We don't even, you know what I mean? Who do we call Yamach Shemai B'Zichrai? Hitler, Yamach Shemai B'Zichrai. We don't call Rabbi Yamach Shemai B'Zichrai because he had a misunderstanding with his teacher.
Oh my God, I know. These are all my questions. Oh no. Did I lose you? Oh no. Yoel, come back. Yoel, come back. Are you back? How do I get you back? Are you back?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, should we continue inside the text?
Yeah.
Okay. Shemi Sham.
Okay. 1 second, because my apps all crashed at the same time. Just got to reopen the page.
Sure. Oh, I don't have the chat on. Let me see what people have been saying.
Yes.
Choice times. In my opinion, this is arguably the single most important issue to confront, explore, understand, become illuminated, and transform. 100% choice times. This is the nut that cracks open Geula. This is the Jesus Psy-Op is what reveals the light that we need to get us over the finish line, in my opinion.
Sure. It's
My face, Sirocco. I have no control over my facial muscles. Let me see. Definitely Mad Hippie's Life, the Unredacting Jesus course. I couldn't even sleep when I was taking it. It like my soul left my body at certain points. You know, somebody said in the chat, David HaMelech was called Mamzer. Interesting. In the passage, Yeshua equates the Gentile. Interesting.
cool.
You there?
Yeah. Ready.
Okay. You ready?
Mm-hmm. Shemisham.
Yeah.
Shemisham Vahala, that from there and onwards, Yikablu has es hahashpai shelahem, they will receive their influences, meaning the other side, I think, right? The Sa'abusa. Al yitei hapisul shelamamzer hanichnas benem. Through the pisul, so I think it's in the context we could probably translate it as invalidation
Yeah.
of the mamzer that was entered between them.
Inserted.
Inserted.
Yeah.
Inserted. Good. Yes, very good word. True. Inserted. More accurate. V'hakol yakiru v'yedu es yivushasa v'eskoloina shalaklipa. Everyone is going to recognize and know the yivushasa. It sounds to me, or like embarrassment, or like dryness. Koloina is like maybe like pity or lowliness.
Hello? I lost you. Yoel?
Yeah.
Okay, you're back.
Okay.
The clone. Okay, go ahead. Well, can I just stop you there for a second?
Sure.
V'hakol yakir v'yedu es yivushasav es kolona shaklipa. Through this mamzer who was inserted into the pisol, the heart of the pisol, everyone will come to understand its dryness. Through him, when the lies come off of the central figure, everyone will see how it was always, the lies were always nothing. Okay, go on.
שאין השפעה שנמשכת אלא על ידי פיסול של הממזר הניתן לה להיות משפיע עליה. Because the influence, her influence, the other side's influence, doesn't draw forth unless it's through the hand of this pisul, of the mamzer, that was given to her to be influencing to her. So,
Yeah. Say that in your words. Oh no. Yoel? I lost you. Yoel? Shoot. You there?
oh, I think I can't be on the text screen and the talking screen at the same time. Interesting.
Oh.
Okay, so I think it's the New Testament is maybe I want to say maybe the words or the klipa, and the light is the essence that Jesus was trying to convey, or he was chosen to convey. And by inserting Jesus into the klipa, meaning the klipa was already there. We said in the paragraph that there was Akron and Ashdod, and Ashdod was the seat for Akron, but now it's the seat for this mamzer that was inserted. So the klipa, the husk, was always there. We just changed the light that's inside of it. And when this light can be revealed, the klipa is going to fall apart. Meaning, what's going to look like is Christians are going to say, we're giving up the pagan elements surrounding the light, but we're holding on to the light because we can see the light shining forth so strongly, so brilliantly. And we realize that the entire thing sustaining our values and our religion, it's just this one person. The code word, because we can't say it outright, the code word is mamzer, this mamzer. But we're going to recognize so brilliantly that the mamzer is what's giving our religion the light, and we're going to leave the religion behind and hold on to the light.
So good. So good.
You could say a similar thing for Judaism, because we talked about how even words of Torah can also be said to be some kind of klipa for the light that they contain.
Especially if the words are only taken at the literal level.
Right.
I think that actually the literal Torah is some kind of quote unquote klipa for the soda. It's a vehicle for the sod. The stories, the laws are all a vehicle for the soul. The sod is the soul of Hashem. So the soul of Hashem had to be carried in something. Dang it. Come back. You there? Can you hear me? Oh no. Can you hear me, Yoel? Okay. Yoel? The garment of Esav is here? The Nordstrom's writings are the first source of Zohar in history. As it is written, who is my mother? Garment of Esav, you need to do a show with me. You need to come out of the closet and we got to discuss. gilajedwab@gmail.com. Could you email me? Oh, hold on. I have to let you back in. Shoot. Okay, there you are.
I can't get the text at the same time because it keeps crashing my phone. Next time I'll have to have it like on a
Print
paper or something.
So I'll read the Hebrew when you translate. Could that work?
Cool.
Okay, but I just wanted to finish up the last thought that I was explaining that I feel sometimes the body of the Torah, the text of the Torah, the stories, the laws, everything that felt so heavy to me my whole life. Like the Torah always felt like a storybook and an oppressive rule book. And I was like, until I understood that It's just the vehicle for this light, the soul, the secrets, the decode. I was like, it's the soul of Hashem. And it's amazing how we have carried the guf of Hashem 3,000 years. The determination, the stubbornness of Jews really paid off for us because I'm like telling you, we were carrying like a lifeless body for, Kessens talk about this, both brothers, how like we're studying a dead Torah. You ever heard him say that? Like we're carrying the guf, like we need to be learning Ramchal. Yeah, Reb Shimon especially, he gets fired up about that. He's like, what are we doing? Learning Gemara all day. Learn the Ramchal. Anyway, so I feel like just like it's analogous, like you brought this up, that the Christianity was a vehicle for the light for the Gentile nations. The literal text of Torah also a vehicle for the light of Hashem, which is the Sod. And I'm going to do a class. I'm doing another class with Billy Phillips where he's going to show with proof that all of the communities, the Sephardic communities who had Zohar, the Nazis didn't touch them. Rommel pulled up on, I forgot the country, got out of his car, got back in his car and turned around and didn't invade.
Was it Morocco?
It wasn't Morocco. I don't know. I'll send you the link when I do the class with him. I think we're going to do it on Sunday. And he has a whole presentation about it. He has a whole half-hour presentation about it, and I'm going to play it for everybody. And I bought myself I bought a mini Zohar, a Pinchas for everyone in my family, my brothers and sisters. I have to mail it out to them. Everyone should have a Zohar in their home, period. You want protection? You want a Noah's Ark in your house? Buy yourself some form of Zohar. Because we're in the storm, guys. Get yourself an ark. And this is the ark. Okay, let's continue. Is there anything else you want to say on that? Okay. V'zeh sod megalgalin chova al yedei chayav.
This is the secret of Megalgalin is to roll or reincarnate, to put it back upon the obligated on the obligated, the obligation on the obligated.
What do you understand from that? What are they like? Who's the obligated? What's the obligation? Do you have any insight into that one sentence?
Not yet, but he might go on and expound more, maybe.
Okay. Sheharei ze harasha hamamzer shehimalig es divrei Torah. And this chova al yedei chayav, is the Russia, the code word Russia, hamamzer, that he was antagonistic to words of Torah. Okay? And when I looked up in the Gemara in Gittin 57a, when Onkelos is talking to the three people that he raised from the dead and asked them if he should join Judaism, one of the people he raised was Jesus. And Jesus says, Kol hamalig al divrei chachamim. It doesn't say divrei Torah in the Gemara. It changes one word here. Divrei Torah and divrei chachamim. So I think that discrepancy reveals something, but I'm not sure what. But I think that it's saying that Jesus, this Rosh Mamzer person, quote unquote, I'm putting it as a euphemism in quotes, this person inserted on the throne of uncleanliness, that he antagonized Torah. I think he antagonized the Erev Rav. I think the Divrei Chachamim, the Divrei Torah that he antagonized were the people in positions of power at that time in the Jewish community who were bringing destruction to the Second Temple, and that was the Erev Rav.
Can I say, maybe him burning in poop is not Hashem putting him in poop. It's the Erev Rav telling us what they did to him. They're saying we put him in poop. What poop? Avodah Zarah. We made him Avodah Zarah. They're admitting what they did. They're telling us what they did. They say we made him Avodah Zarah. He wasn't Avodah Zarah. We put him in the poop. After he died, we made a whole Psy-Op against him. We literally buried him in poop.
100%, 100%, 100%. And the devil always has to tell you what they do. Okay, so Very good. Very, very good. Malik. Okay. Lefichach nifrad min hakadusha. Therefore, you say lefichach nifrad min hakadusha.
He's separated from, there's a period, we said there's three kinds, there's pisol, period, and koitzet, so now he has period, he's separated from the side of holiness.
V'nikva lemashpia al hasitra achra.
And he's established, I think, to influence to the other side.
To the evil side. Lekabel al love, to accept that. I'll translate and you stop me if I'm mistranslating. Lekabel al love, kol hatoma, to accept upon himself all that filth, v'chol mini shikuts v'siyuv, and all the disgustingness and, all those words. Lahamshicham el poale aven. I don't know what that means. Lahamshicham.
To draw forth or extend to the Pa'alei Oven or the workers of iniquity.
Okay. V'ochlu mi pri darkam, and he ate from the fruit of their ways. Umi moatzosehem yisavu, and from their dwelling places he became satisfied.
Okay.
V'nimtza zeha rasha shemakabel es paranusam, and we find there in the seed of unholiness this rasha, quote unquote, shemakabel es that he accepted his paranuso.
Are those paranios? Are those afflictions?
Yeah, afflictions. Mishalem v'nidun b'chol yom b'tzo'a roseches b'sod hanizkar. That he is getting paid his dues v'nidun b'chol yom, and nidun b'chol yom, and like judged every day inside a vat of excrement. This is the secret that is mentioned. Kol po'el adam yashalem lo. In the verse that every action of man is repaid to him, u'ka'erech ish yimtzi anu, and the ways of man are found inside of him. I mean, something in me tells me from this that maybe Jesus voluntarily accepted, he is being punished by being inside the vat of lies, the vat of bullshit, because this is he agreed to it. These were his actions he took. This is the risk that he took in diving into the klipa, voluntarily diving in to sit on the seat of unholiness. So he's got to pay the price by being bound inside these lies. And I heard a story that the Baal Shem Tov tried to release him, and I guess the fruit wasn't ripe yet. He's like, no, you have to go back in the vat. he wasn't able to get him out of the vat. But more recently, I heard the Lubavitcher Rebbe freed Jesus from the vat of lies. So maybe that, made progress for the soul of Jesus that he does. Because look at us talking now.
Right. I think the Baal Shem Tov and the Lubavitcher Rebbe did huge amounts for releasing him. Whether they might have done hidden things that we can't see, revealed we could. Why? What did the Baal Shem Tov introduce? I mean, he didn't really introduce it, but he made it popular to say the Hasidic Rebbe said about one another. That's Yud Hey Vav Hey wearing a streimel and a gartel. That's what they would say about each other. That's Yud Hey Vav Hey.
Who would say that to who? I didn't hear.
The different Hasidic Rebbes.
Oh.
It was a very common thing that they would call one another. That's Yud Hey Vav Hey and a streimel.
Right.
So the Baal Shem Tov did make Jesus a little more kosher. Of course he did, because you can't point at Jesus so much and say, oh, Avodah Zarah. Yeah, point at the Baal Shem Tov and say Avodah Zarah also,
right.
And the Lubavitcher Rebbe did the same thing. He did the same thing in a messianic twist,
How? Tell me how.
Because the Rebbe's still alive, and the Rebbe's Mashiach, and the Rebbe's coming back, and thousands and thousands, and maybe even more than thousands and thousands of Orthodox Jews are saying this every day. So it's getting harder and harder to say the same thing about Jesus. Like, oh, he's a kaifer, he's a fake Mashiach, he's still alive, he's coming back,
Good. You're right. They each contributed a piece to taking the bandages off of the leper. So good. Okay, you're so right. You're so brilliant. Okay, let's finish up. Gam nirmaz zeh ha'inyan b'ma she'amar. This is also hinted at in what is written, Pizar nasan le'avyonim. Shaharei HaKadosh, in the verse, Pizar nasan le'avyonim. What does that mean?
Scattering he gives to the poor people, maybe?
Okay. Shaharei HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yoshev Tamid, that Hashem is always constantly sitting, Umachalek es hashpa'asav, and is dividing his influence, Gam Yisrael, to the Israelites, Gam Umos Ha'olam, and also to the nations of the world. Elish Osan Shel Umos Ha'olam. But these nations of the world, who Mechalkam Umefazran Alehem, they are dividing them up and scattering them, B'ayin Ra, with the negative eye, Mitzad HaTumah, from the side of unholiness. Al Yedei HaMamzer HaNizkar, through this CI operative called the Mamzer that we mentioned. She'ola Kaminyan Fei Zayin Reish Pizar, that on this, maybe it's a gematria that you came up with. What was it?
Mamzer, right? Mamzer is equal to Pizar. You add the mems together.
That was brilliant. When did you come up with that? 2 a.m.?
Yeah, because I was trying to figure it out all night, and then it hit me. It's so obvious. I was trying to add Yeshu to him. I didn't understand.
Mamzer. The Mamzer equals Pei Zayin Reish. So when it says Pizar Nasan Le'avyonim, the Mamzer was given to the lowly ones, right?
Yes.
The Osan Shel Yisrael, and these Israelites, who Mechalkin Alehem B'ayin Tov, and he divided it amongst them with a good eye, im ma'at v'im harbe. These with a little bit and these with a lot. Mitzad hakadusha al yedei hayesod hakadosh, from the side of holiness, through the foundation of holiness, shahu nasan umechalek li'avyone amo, that was given to that this was given and divided to the poor people of his nation, the kol echad v'echad mihem, to every single one of them, kafi madrigaso, according to his level, ukafi masha ra'uilo, and according to what he is worthy of. V'zeh sod nasan li'avyonim, that the mamzer was given to the avyonim, and some people small amount of people understand it one way through kedusha, and a larger amount of people understand it b'ayin ra'ah, with unholiness.
What's ayin ra? They can't see properly. They don't know how to look at the psukim.
Right, with a clouded eye, clouded judgment.
We even talk about we're supposed to have an ayin tov or an ayin ra on the things that we think about other people or we see about the world, to look at everything with a positive framework. So it's the same thing. Can you look at the teachings of about Jesus in a positive framework? Can you learn to discern?
100%. 100%. And you know what I said to Rabbi Keston? I'm like, he is a yid. It was a yid. What are we doing already? We're calling him a kofar. We can't give him the benefit of the doubt even to this day.
Right.
Any last thoughts? I want to end because I don't want to go too long. I want people to watch this.
Sure.
So tell me your closing thoughts, Yoel.
I want to reiterate that Rabbi Keston he's a gadol. He's huge.
A gadol, huge, massive.
Yeah. And he just doesn't have the freedom to speak about these things, even if he really wanted to and believed in it. Not because he's scared of his reputation, not because he's scared of anything other than he knows that Hashem trusted him to lead a huge amount of this generation's young Jews. And he knows that they're not ready for this message just because they're not. It's just reality is they're not. And until they are ready, it doesn't matter what he thinks or believes. The responsibility that Hashem gave him does not allow him to speak openly, even if he believes that it wants to.
Beautiful. Thank you for clarifying that. And he brought the world the massive piece that Trump is the Tov Shebe'esav. I mean, how can we ever figure anything out without that piece?
Right.
Massive.
Right. And you need someone like Rabbi Keston to say it so we can go with it. We can't just make it up ourselves and run with it.
I'm telling you, he fixed the central piece of the puzzle so everything else can make sense around it.
Right.
Yeah, no, we need that guy. Thank you so much for your time. Anything else?
No, thank you so much, Kila.
Okay, we should do this again.
Sure.
Have a great